Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is the Fantasy Rugby Yanks. My name's Jared Dyke.
I'm Ben Glauser.
We are recording from just outside Boston, Massachusetts, and what a weekend we've just seen. And well, okay, maybe that's an overstatement because there was some matches that meant exactly nothing, and and then I have to be honest, some of the Super Rugby was not great either. So that was After last weekend, I guess we were ready for a letdown.
Yeah, you're going to kind of have that. You got the Premiership teams that mostly had a bye.
Yeah.
Didn't have much going on.
Yep.
So they're coming back. You had a lot of teams starting some shags.
Right.
And so you're not going to get the best rugby when that happens.
No.
Although it led to some high scores.
Yeah, especially a couple games for sure.
Sale
yeah, that one was pretty hot. It was pretty up there.
Actually, with the exception of was it Newcastle Bristol?
Surprise.
Surprise. Every team scored over 20.
Wow. I don't know what that says about Newcastle Bristol. That's all right. All right, let's crack some.
Let's do that.
Everybody make sure you check us out on Google Play, Spotify, iTunes. Rate us, review us. I'll put the email in the show notes, and I'll give it at the end of the show for those of you that like to hear it. I don't know why, but whatever happens.
And hit us up for some beer suggestions.
Yeah,
because we're always on the lookout for something we can drink while we're doing this.
Absolutely. And we're not looking for water either.
Right? No, like real beer.
Yeah, something that one or two of them knock you kind of on your ass.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's the type of stuff.
We are large gentlemen. It takes more than the average.
Yeah, I'm not out to sit here and guzzle down 5, 6, 7 beers just to get maybe a buzz.
No,
that's not quite what I'm after here. But we did record number 30 last week.
Woohoo! 3-0.
Actually 31, but
whatever.
officially number 30.
We've had a couple split episodes.
The draft episode would
That's
be
a special.
31. But it was a special. But yeah, officially, TFRY has 30 episodes out there, and I don't know. It doesn't feel like 30. Feels like we haven't been doing it for that long.
Not really. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like it is shocking to look back and be like, wow, we've been doing this since December.
Yeah.
May?
Minimum.
Yeah. Oh, we've been doing the pick'em since December.
Yeah,
so.
we only did the pick'em since December. I did the episodes. I did the first few episodes in like October, and then I think I picked you up in November. And,
something like that.
And yeah, there you go. So off we go. So number 30. We will have a small break once Super Rugby ends, but then we have the best thing possible,
World
Cup. So, but yeah, that we'll move on from there. Something that I've been waiting for this guy to freaking call it quits forever, but I think everybody has. George Smith retiring after the Bristol match this past weekend.
Well done to him.
Yeah, 20-ish years. I can't believe he's been playing for as long as he's had.
He's younger than me.
Yeah, and he's the dude's a beast.
Fucking depressing.
The dude's a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy has been so good for so long. It's hard to believe that. I mean, his brilliance has just stayed with him throughout his whole career. And obviously as he got more experience, he got more intelligent with how he played.
Right.
So, I mean, there comes a time where you kind of have to, because you don't have the same agility and same physical attributes that you once did, because, well, age does that.
And for me, it was the recovery.
Yeah, being able to play week in, week out.
Right. And it was showing up for, even from back when I was 23 and fresh-legged.
Right.
Tuesday practices weren't terribly fun because you're still a little bit sore from Saturday.
Yeah.
But when it came to suddenly it was Thursday training, I'm like, man, I'm still sore from Saturday. And then you wake up Saturday and you're like, man, I'm still sore from last match. It's like, yeah, you don't have that recovery.
No.
Your body kind of loses that ability to maintain.
Right. So he's obviously taking good care of himself over the years. But yeah, that's tip of the cap to George Smith. That is a fantastic career, and he is going to be a legend that will live in Aussie folklore forever. Rugby folklore, really, but definitely Aussie folklore. So one thing that I got really annoyed with, and you did too, actually, this past weekend.
Yep.
So those of you that might be listening from not the United States or probably Canada too, we we live behind paywalls for rugby over here. Unfortunately, at one point it wasn't so bad for like ESPN, but then they decided to put that little plus next to it.
Yeah.
So there goes that.
Yeah.
So ESPN Plus, NBC Sports Gold, and Flow Rugby pretty much encompass every bit of rugby you can probably want to suck up.
Yes.
In this country.
So it's in a way it's worth it because it's like you can. I mean, I can go back and watch every match from this past weekend right now if I wanted to.
Right, especially between Plus and Gold.
Right.
But so this past weekend, audio issues out the wazoo for NBC Gold, like no audio
Yes.
or that happened at least once or twice. Another time, the audio cut to somebody that must have been in the truck instead of the commentator, and like directing the cameras. I'm like, that's not the person we're supposed to hear, guys.
Yeah.
Referees' mics cut in and out all the time on Gold, which sucks. And I know it's not, and we know that we never get the halftime show feeds or anything like that for Gold, which is really, really disappointing.
It is.
And it's a lot more complicated than I wish it was. Oh, well, that's a different feed, and you have to pay X amount more. Like, well, bloody hell, they charge us freaking a shit ton anyway. Why? How the hell can they not afford it? I'm baffled to it sometimes.
And yes, all those issues I had. So I recently bought a new computer, and the other week it was having audio issues. I couldn't get the speakers to work, so it was just they weren't working. And it's a Mac. I'm new to Macs, so my wife goes, "Hey, why don't you just cycle power, turn it off, turn it back on again?" I'm like, "It's not a PC." When she's like, "Just do it." I did it and it worked. It was fine.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there watching Wasps versus Quins. I think it was.
Yeah.
And that happened like in the middle of
it, yeah.
maybe 5 minutes in, the audio just cut out.
Yep.
And I was like, fuck, did my computer just take a shit on me again? I'm like, am I going to have to and I actually did. I
Reboot it, try it again.
Turn it back on, and it wasn't working again. And now I'm like, fuck, what the hell? And then so I fast forwarded it about a minute or two into the action, and then we were good. And I was like, oh, okay, it's the feed.
Yeah, that was the feed.
Great job, NBC. So now I'm like, fuck, it was NBC Sports Gold the whole time.
Yeah, yes, it probably was. And then ESPN Plus presents less issues for me, but it's also an absolute pain in the balls to find the matches sometimes.
I've actually found so now so one of the big problems with Super Rugby on ESPN Plus was that you couldn't search for it. So if you search for a rugby match or you search for rugby,
search Super Rugby,
right?
Ugh.
Now, if you go into ESPN Plus, this is at least on the Roku app. You go into ESPN Plus.
I think it does on Apple
You can
TV
scroll
too.
down, and it has a leagues list, and you can scroll through and find Super Rugby.
Oh,
and boom, and then
there
everything's
you
right
go.
there.
Okay.
So it's annoying, but they actually did.
They've addressed it at least.
Yeah, they fixed it in some way.
So yeah,
but Flow Rugby.
oh God in heaven,
This is
God in heaven.
So this is actually the explanation as to why I didn't watch so many of the Premiership and Super Rugby matches this week. Is
Well, you were watching the club championships here,
right? So this was American Club Championships. It was the final, the Elite Eights. So Saturday was the quarterfinals. I'm sorry, no, it was quarterfinals, then semifinals. Right, semifinals.
Finals are in a couple weeks.
Of American Rugby. The finals are in a couple weeks. But Flow Rugby, I mean, we're paying double what we pay for NBC Sports Gold and ESPN Plus. So
Yikes.
I think it's $60 annually for the ESPN Plus and NBC Sports Gold, and it's like $120 for Flow Rugby.
Yeah, the boss looked it up and she's like, "That sounds ridiculous."
It is.
I was like, "It is."
And the only reason that I'm paying that is because my boss wants me to, because she wants to be able to watch shit like this. And that's fine. I get that, we kind of have to support. You have to pay in to make it worth it for anybody to broadcast USA Rugby, the club
Yeah.
play. But damn, I don't know where they get these announcers, because
Yeah.
they get these commentators who don't know the sport, and like there'll be a penalty, and there were a couple times there'd be a penalty and a quick tap, and they'll be like, "Oh, referee halts play," and it resumes, and they don't know what happened. They couldn't tell.
Dude, let's go.
Play. A kick to touch would be, oh, she kicked it out of touch. And it's like, no, into touch. Like get the. I guess at least you got the touch idea, but you don't know what the fuck it means. So don't use it.
Come on, man.
at least go to out of bounds if you want to do. Use American lingo if you don't know what the fuck you're talking.
Yeah, that's probably true. Save yourself the headache.
Right. And but at the same time, is there really nobody who knows rugby enough that can legitimately commentate on it? There was a match, even worse. There was the Division 1 women's semifinal between Detroit and Raleigh. And
Right.
Raleigh's a good fucking team. They went to the finals last year. Detroit's mediocre at best. But there's not many D1
Cinderella story to get to the semifinal, more or less.
pretty much. And Raleigh was blowing them out all across the board.
Smashing.
And they didn't know, they had the teams wrong.
Oh,
Not only the commentator was calling Raleigh Detroit and Detroit Raleigh, but they had it on the scoreboard on the screen as Detroit win. Like
That's awful.
And
that is just unforgivable.
At one point, Raleigh makes a sub, and they bring in their number 20, and the commentator looks at it and says, "Well, Detroit doesn't have a number 20, so hey, congratulations, they got a little bit more depth." And it's like, no. They have to. The scrutiny around these rosters is so intense because it's fucking club rugby, so people are going to cheat.
Right.
And
Find ringers wherever you can.
right, they're not going to let you roster a 20 if you don't have one. So that should have been a huge signal to him that, oh, we fucked this up. Like,
yeah, that the old light bulb should have gone off.
And Raleigh has this purple Viper that's on there.
Right.
I think it's purple, whatever. But they have a Viper that's on their uniform. Know what the fuck the teams you're calling.
No.
So, but this is what we pay for. Right? This is what we get with American rugby.
And I will share your commentator, outrage with a moment from a few years ago, and back when NBC Sports Gold didn't quite understand what the hell they were doing, or NBC Sports period didn't quite understand what they were doing with rugby.
Right.
And it was they used to carry the USA Sevens, the Las Vegas Sevens.
Yes.
And man, was that painful to listen to. The two commentators that were on there, the one guy that he's basically their everything commentator, and he's kind of a reject, and just man, he sounds so terrible. And then
is that Hightower?
There was also him. There was also him too, and he just put the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Now, and the people still use him like he's worth it. He was USA Sevens captain in like the 80s, which shouldn't mean a darn thing, and it doesn't. It really doesn't.
It absolutely does not.
But so the match in Chicago, Ireland and New Zealand, bloody great match. But man, I'm listening to this commentary. I had to just like turn it down, and it was just so painful to listen to. Every time something happened for Ireland, he couldn't just say Ireland. He said the Irish Rugby Football Union. I'm like, oh, dude, this is painful for me to listen to. Every time he was trying to refer to Ireland, that's what he called them. I'm like, no, a whole lot of no. Yeah. Like, come on, dude. What's
the fucking point?
It's just so it's like, all right, you are demonstrating to everybody that's watching this match that even has a clue about rugby that you are an absolute imbecile.
Well, anybody at all. Even if you don't know rugby, you're like, can he just say Ireland? I mean,
that's probably true. Also, probably true.
There's no, these guys, they always put something in there. They're like, oh, this is my like idiom, or whatever.
Right?
It's like, no, dude, just pick a better fucking idiom.
Yeah.
Do something your own way, but do differently.
All right. Yeah. So, depending on what you follow and what you want to follow, if you're so ESPN Plus has Pro 14, they have Super Rugby, and they have some MLR. So if you're a U.S. rugby fan, on top of being a fan of those two leagues, then that's your game. If you are a fan of England and Europe, you're gonna want to go NBC Sports Gold because that's what their Rugby Pass will get you. They're also carrying the World Cup, although I think that's going to carry a different package, which sucks.
Great.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. We'll manage that.
Yeah,
we'll figure that one out. And then Flow Rugby, the only thing that I can say for myself that it's worth it, if you're a big club rugby fan and you're a big fan of the women's game, that's your bag right there. So the one thing I want to ask, because you watched them, the fall internationals, the autumn internationals, were those like ITV feeds, or did they had somebody else trying to hook into the commentary there? Whatever it was from.
They're all, I mean...
The international feed, were the international feeds or the home feed, whatever it is, or is it more the us trying to screw it up?
I you know what, I couldn't quite tell because again I don't think they were any. Oh wait, I'm thinking about the American internationals.
No. Well, the American internationals we can throw away because they screwed those up pretty hard.
No, as I recall, they weren't local.
Okay,
feeds.
good.
They were the national.
Yeah, listen, they couldn't tell what the clock was in that USA match where they meet one of the island countries. I still can't remember, but yeah, they were 5 minutes off.
Yeah,
that's bad. So yeah, Flow Rugby, please, suck less.
And plus, for the club championships, they were showing. So this is another thing that they were doing that annoyed the fuck out of me is in the second half of matches, they were starting over at zeros. So
that's
for
not how you
the
do
clock.
It. That's not how you do it. You start at 40.
Right.
Come on, man.
And so
that's a basic.
I'm watching a match.
That's an easy one.
Right. So we started watching one match. It was the Division 3 quarters, which Division 3 it was dog shit. Absolute dog.
That'll happen.
Right. Which was to be expected. Then there was a Division 2 women's, and we wanted to watch the Division 2 women's because we have a good friend who plays for one of the teams, and the other team was from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which is where Jess and I met. And so we both have a connection to that club. So it was two clubs that we actually really wanted to see, and we're looking at the score like, wait, there's 37 minutes in. We're not even at the end of the first half. Like, what the fuck? And then it turned out, no, that was towards the end of the game.
That was that.
Could you just...
Or at least, come on, bloody hell. At least
have a second half thing.
Yeah,
something.
That needs to be in there. Knuckleheads.
But, we make fun of the French a lot on this pod.
Yeah.
Because everyone does. But I seriously think a lot of these problems are because USA Rugby now has this connection to France. So we are sucking in the French.
Please no. this aura or whatever it is. Please no. Just knock it off.
Make better choices.
Some clubs are hooking up with some of the professional teams. Starting to hook up with other organizations that are better than France. Thank God.
Yes, thank God.
All right.
On
Premiership. Premiership there were a lot of permutations. We almost got it right.
With
last week.
Yeah.
Last week. We almost got it right. Who did we say? We said, I have it here. Hold on. Yeah. Yes. So we said Northampton, Quins, Bath would get in, and Bristol would be the 7th place. And I believe it's Northampton,
Quins, Bath, and Sale.
And Sale's in the 7th. Ugh. Almost. Bloody hell. So close. I also was banking on... I'm not sure I banked
because neither of us were expecting Sale and Wasps
to be
to win. So...
Right. That was the other
that's
thing.
Where we...
That's where we buggered that one up.
Yep.
Oops. Oh, well.
Our bad.
So I watched both the matches. The only thing I didn't watch was Newcastle or Bristol. So Leicester match. The only comment I had, Leicester Bath played out of their skin, which was awesome. Abano, Stuke, Mercer, they were all very good. Rory McConaughey looks like another future England player, possibly. He's coming from the 7 circuits, but still, he's
there's a lot of
he's been very good for them. He's been very underrated. He kind of came onto the scene and then he scored a try in his first game.
Yeah.
So he was something good.
He's got a lot of competition at his position.
He does.
So.
There's a lot of good wingers even in his own club.
Right.
So what is with, and we know one that I can refer to, but the other one, what is with England and having very talented and very mobile props that are also absolute fucking morons? I refer to one Ellis Genge.
I think how we talk about the other one, Sinclair.
Yeah.
I do not understand the hype behind Genge. at all. I just don't get it.
I mean, I can't either. I'm with you on that one.
What does he do that's so impressive? I don't see Sinclair at least does some pretty cool shit in the loose.
In the loose, right. And supposedly Genge does too, but I've yet to really see a lot of it. I can't say I've seen it much.
No, I don't.
I
am without answer to that question.
Of the productive props at Leicester, which there are very few, Dan Cole is way higher on my list than Genge. So no. I have no idea. Eddie Jones likes him, but I also know that Eddie Jones likes Hepburn and Moon more than he likes Genge, probably. So that's probably a good thing for England.
It is.
But yeah, it was a good match. Bath got one right at the death. I think it was Van Rooyen that ended up coming up with the winner at the end. It was a very very well played match for them, But Leicester let it go again, and they talked about it. It was their defense. It's their defense. One thing I have to say, Leicester, whatever you do, I know you're going to probably want a new coach. Do not make Mike Ford your new coach. Do not. He is an absolute shitbag. He basically shoved somebody out at Bath to get the job there. Yeah, he took him to a final, but then he promptly lost said final to the Saracens, actually. And he's just such an asshole. People he went to I think it was Toulon. People at Toulon hated him. Hated him. Leicester, do yourself a favor. I don't care if it's your best player's dad. That doesn't make him a good coach.
No.
Knock it off, all right? And I know his other son's there too. He's not as good. But oh man, just don't do it. Don't do it. There's a lot of talent out there for coaches. He ain't it. Okay? And if you didn't know, Bath win 32-31. Wasp and Quins. This was a freaking humdinger right down to the very end.
Yes, it really was.
Quins couldn't keep it together, but it was a very very good match. Lots of guys saying goodbye to this club. Joe Simpson says goodbye to his club in style,
great style,
with a pair to get over the line.
And really good, not just a pair, but very Joe Simpson signature tries.
Yes.
So not even just he scored. No, he did what he does.
He did what he does best,
and that's a great way to say goodbye.
Yep, absolutely. He was very good. It was great to see him, and they sent him and Daly off, especially in the absolute right way. Mm-hmm. These are guys that joined the club when they were very young, came through the academy, and have obviously. They're going to look funny when they're not in a Wasp shirt, as much as I'm going to enjoy seeing one not in a Wasp shirt. But They are going to look pretty funny along with guys like Nathan Hughes, who's also leaving the club, and Jake Cooper-Willie's heading up to Salford to play for the Sharks. It's going to be really, really weird. But they certainly sent him off in style.
They did.
It was very, very good stuff.
And Wasps, I think they had a rough go of it, at least early, and good for them for finishing strong. Let's put it that way. That they kind of sorted their shit out.
Mm-hmm. Well, they started hot with Bassett early.
Oh yeah,
that was a good one.
But they that's right. I might be thinking of someone else.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I wasn't as impressed with them. No, that was what it was. It was during the Champions Cup when they were just they had no energy, no creativity.
No, they had
not much of anything really going.
Yeah,
they
had
some good results.
They just seemed out of ideas, right away in Champions Cup. It's almost like the competition itself just made them go, "I don't know what to do."
Right.
But
then they sorted it out. At least for
a bit.
Whatever they had to do to not shit the bed completely in Champions Cup.
Right.
Helped them out with the Premiership a lot because then their creativity and their use of space was much better as the season went on.
Right. They'll be ruined the way they played a little bit this year because obviously they're not going to be in Champions Cup next year. But Quinn's had a good day. Joe Marchand just bullied his way over for a try. I think he had at least two guys on a hold of him on the touchline and still said, "No, I'm getting over. Sorry, guys." So credit to Joe Marchand. The guy's a beast. There was conversation in the match from the commentary team. Maybe Eddie Jones has a peek at him, and if he needs something different, because he's obviously got two big ball carrying centers that he can use. He can use Daly at center if he ever freaking gets his head screwed on straight. He can use Slade. Slade's really hard to leave out of that team. He's been on fire lately, and he was on fire this weekend too. But it does give him something else to maybe think about.
Yeah, I would. But I mean, you know me, and I've been saying it a lot. I would much rather have dynamic centers than
The big ball carrying guys.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want somebody who's a big ball carrier, ask a fucking large 8-man or or a lock to run through that gap. Hit that wall there.
Fair enough.
Centers, yeah, I think Marchant would be an excellent addition
to an England shirt.
an England shirt, and then just add that dynamic ability, and playmaking in space. It's gotta be there more than
right. They do have a few options between. If they were to ever consider him, Jonathan Joseph's also another option that they could throw in there. They do have options. If they ever want to consider Lazowski again, they could do that. So there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But Wasps take care of business 27-25. Spoil the Quins party by far, but also give themselves a shot at Champions Cup rugby. Not for, but still they at least rocked up and finally put a performance in.
Right. I am kind of disappointed in the Quins. Actually, I'm kind of disappointed. Well, it's hard to be disappointed in the Saints, and we'll get to that. But the Quins, it's one thing when you're going against.
It was there.
Right.
It was there.
And how? Yeah. You can't go out.
They have some interesting bodies coming into their club as well next year. So we'll see how that rolls out. Mm-hmm. I presume at some point next year they'll get Nathan Earl back on top of that.
Yeah.
So that'd be nice. The other game that meant something in terms of playoff, Northampton, Saints and Exeter at Sandy Park. And this started like a house on fire. This match did for sure.
It really did. But I was shocked because fucking Exeter was terrible out of the gate.
Yeah,
they could not do anything. They weren't defending very well. They couldn't control the ball.
No, which is very, very un-Exeter like.
And yet they kept it tied. And this is so we had a text message conversation a little bit during this because this was the game we were both watching live, and I was like, Exeter could not be playing worse. Like, and in this way, they're trying to. It's almost like they're getting this shit out of their system in preparation for next week. It's like, look, let's do everything wrong first.
That's why they had a team. That's what I consider this. I consider this a team run basically for them. And
it's gonna be hard to imagine a different result than next week. Than we saw this week, based on how Exeter.
I like to think that Northampton probably gave them their best shot here and still came up short.
And they had to. At the time, I'm sure they're thinking we have to win to make sure we're in.
Yeah. So
it's not as though they were like coasting or anything.
Oh, hell no. That Wasps Quins game was down to the wire. Right. It was down to was it a Lang missed kick? Yeah, it was a Lang missed kick. It was just short. Ugh. It was old because they made the comment and I thought it was kind of funny. Marcus Smith inched a penalty forward earlier in the match by just by being cheeky and throwing the ball forward as he's placing it down, and I kicked it forward by accident, and then places it there, ends up shanking the penalty. Well, James Lang tries to take the penalty from where he's standing, which wasn't an inaccurate spot, but the referee marched him back about two steps, and it was just those 2 steps that he was short by. So I was like, well, that's what happens when you try and cheat.
Right.
But anyway, so Exeter, they look good. Northampton did look good at one point. Oh, let's just get this straight right now. If Kobus Reinach's not in Japan playing with a green shirt, it's a shit. It's a crime. It is a crime. Saints are down to 13 men in their own end. It's for sure looking like Exeter's going over to make it a two-try game with a conversion to go. And he says, you know what? My team's down 2 men right now. There's no reason for me to not do anything other than try this. Yeah. Gambles on the pass and pays off in spades. He gets to go all the way the other way, dots it down under the black dot. Bango. We have a tie game going into halftime. I was like, what? Chris, this is what Kobus Reinach's done all year, though.
Right.
This is what he's done.
Although they were, Exeter was trying to be cheeky. They were going for an inside pass, and he was just like, okay, I'll
bite.
trail and hit that gap as soon as it's looking like it's going to be a pass. And I'll cut off that pass and take it 90 meters for a walk in.
Wow. I was watching. I'm thinking, shit, here we go.
Yeah.
Exeter's going to get over it. And then he ends up with it. I'm like, he's gone. He's gone. There's no way he's got. I was thinking, all right, there might be somebody that can catch him. Nope.
There are enough intercept passes like that you can see coming like a mile away. This just kind of was like, you could not. I couldn't anticipate it, and I was watching it.
He was just like, I'm gonna bite as soon as if he's like, if this comes back my way, I'm just gonna bite and go. If I let up a try, oh well, we're probably supposed to give up a try anyway. So heck with it. So good on him. That's a cojones showing Reed right there for sure, and he made it pay off. But he did come off injured, which was a little unfortunate. But I was just looking up injury news. It looks like he's going to be okay to play this weekend. At least they'll have him back. I don't think Reese Marshall's going to be ready to go. He had a pretty nasty looking injury. And then they're debating on Dylan Hartley right now. They don't want to gamble him. They do have Davidoff, who is just coming off his own injury, who's their fifth choice hooker at this point. Fish was actually like their second or third choice, and then he got hurt, so Reese Marshall ended up stepping in. So, and Reese Marshall, we talked about him the other week. He's obviously done an amazing job. It's too bad that he's going to end up missing this game, but so it looks like they will have a hooker. That's about all they can hope for, I suppose. Exeter get the job done. Love me a big old prop try off a little shoulder ball.
Yeah,
he flew in. He's like, "Yay! I've never had this much space." I loved it. Freaking was it? I think it was Dennis.
Yeah,
Dave Dennis. That was great. So Exeter take care of business, 40-21, and stay top of the pile. And let's do it all over again next week, shall we?
Yeah, same time, same place.
Same time, same bat channel, same bat time. Worcester against Saracen Storm. Well, mostly. And I watched it. It was a bloody good game. Cello Bosch gets a try to say goodbye to the Saracens, although he looked like he took a pretty good whack to the knee at the top of it.
Yeah, that did not looked like he paid for that one.
Yeah, he looked well. Josh Adams gets what's eventually, basically the thing that propels them to the win. And that's the record-breaking try for Worcester Warriors. He has the most try for Worcester in the Premiership.
Hey, good for him.
So, on his final farewell, he says, "Thank you very much." I gotta say, the Saracens team, this young Saracens team, really did well. Manu Vunipola, didn't look like he was out of place. Tom Whiteley. He could play next week if he wanted to, honestly. He looked very good.
He's literally come out of nowhere as far as where he is.
Right.
In his development. It's one of these, like, you kind of expect some growing pains and some, I'm not sure what you're thinking there. But no.
Yeah,
he looks like he belongs.
Credit to Saracens, Kelly Brown, the Saracens Academy. Obviously, he's probably been basically just in Richard Wigglesworth's ear, half the year. He's done very, very well for himself, and he bossed this game around, and Worcester ended up winning it on a scrum penalty. Was it a scrum penalty? Was it a penalty? Wasn't it? Whatever. Listen, Worcester was celebrating winning a game against a young Saracens team that really rocked up hard and played well. Nick Tompkins played well in the first half and then almost got himself in a little bit of trouble in the second half. Avoided a yellow card. They looked at it in the TMO. What should have been a yellow card beats the hell out of me. I don't know. I maybe wasn't that bad of a hit. It was it was a bad time. It was mistimed it on an aerial challenge. But he was, to say he was lucky to stay on the field, I don't think it's entirely accurate. But oh well. Matt Gallagher looked as good as we expected. So I liked what we did. I liked what this team did. Ben Earl had a bit of a rough match. That's probably the worst one I've seen him play in a long time, at least in his start. So, but this was a performance I was proud of as a Saracen supporter to see a team like this. They probably should have won this match. That scrum penalty was in red.
Yeah,
It was in red clock. So, I'm proud of the Saracens team that was out there. You know, one or two different players out there. Saracens walk away with this match probably. So, enjoy your victory, Worcester.
Yeah.
You won at the death against a team that's, combined age is probably like 22.
But I'll give Worcester credit that
Or average age.
they actually finished.
First time ever.
Right, in that, and I'm sure some of that was due to the fact that they were playing some youngsters,
Right,
and experienced guys. But they've been Worcester's have been their own worst enemy this year.
Yeah.
Like they'll get a great break, and then in contact they'll just lose the ball or something stupid, and it's like the other team didn't do anything to earn it as much as you just shit the bed. So
Absolutely.
the fact that they didn't do that. All right, I'll give them a little golf clap for that. But
I mean, the guy that won him the game was the guy that's basically guided him the whole year, which was Duncan Weir. Good on him. One of the top 5 signings for a club this year for sure. So
he has been great this year.
Yeah.
So all credit to him.
Absolutely.
For Worcester's limited success.
Basically, yeah. The reason that they're playing Premiership Rugby next year
Right.
is probably him. Sale and Gloucester. Ooh, what a dandy this was. My God.
Firecracker.
So many tries. They had to shift Gloucester had to shift their bench around. Matt Banahan in his 200th Premiership match puts in a stormer of a match, gets a nice ball and just the Sharks decided, oh, here you go, Matt Banahan. You have a gap and run and as free as you want. He said, thanks, bye, and he took off. They were talking about him and giving him Goff for Cipriani because he was making some pretty good looking passes out there.
Yeah,
and being like, hey man, I can do your job too. He did look fantastic. I will say that. Maybe 12-13 should be where he hangs out, not so much 10-14.
Yeah,
I think that might be something that he could probably do to continue to elongate his career
and enlarge his midsection.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He's a hoose.
Yes, he is. Jake Pelledri had 2 try assists in this game, and he looks a lot faster. He's a lot faster than he looks.
And yeah, he looked somewhat untackleable.
He kind of is sometimes.
Yeah.
He really is.
He kind of just decided, you know what? I'm not going to let you tackle me.
No,
today.
not today.
Maybe
not
I take
today.
3 of you. Once I get to the third, all right, now it's time to start thinking about recycling the
Getting
ball.
rid of the ball.
Yeah.
So Ben Bellicott basically needs to buy him a couple of beers because that's the reason that he has both tries because he got the offloads from Jake Pelledri in space, and Bellicott has the speed to finish. But yeah, Pelledri is basically the reason that he got 2 tries. And Bellicott saying his goodbyes to the Gloucester faithful as he's actually on his way to the Rico.
Oh, okay.
He's the person that Joe Simpson's swapping for.
Right.
I will say that's good for Wasp because that's a great transfer for them because not to say Joe Simpson's old, he's not. He's actually only 30 or 31. But Velicott's very young and very fast.
He is
very fast.
Velicott, if we're going to go into the fantasy section of this, he was actually while Willie Hines was injured early in the year. Velicott was my backup, like second or third scrum half because he was getting significant time. And I thought he was doing pretty well, so I was like, "All right, this is great."
Yeah, he did. He did well for.
Willie Hines came back, and it's like, "Oh, Velicott."
He basically became irrelevant, unfortunately.
Got buried there.
Yeah, and even behind Braley, who ended up being the backup. So
who's also pretty.
He's
good.
very good. Yeah, so the Gloucester faithful are going to have a few good scrum halves to pick from over there.
Yes, they will.
But in the end, Sale take care of business, 46-41. Danny Solomona, my goodness gracious, what a fucking try that kid scored. Woo! Fly-by-night airlines, my God, did you see that thing? Doing a freaking, basically ended up doing a somersault and got the thing down just on the corner while he's getting tackled. I was like, oh, what an incredible try that was. My goodness. AJ McGinty had a great game. He got over the line. He's actually the one that fed Solomon the try because AJ had just scored on a good scoot, and I think AJ was out of gas. The sandbox started to approach him, and he said, you know what? I'm going to get rid of this and let my very fast winger and very able winger finish this thing. And boy, did he finish that thing.
Yeah, he did.
My goodness. And then Curry and Curry, attorneys at law, end up opening the scoring. I think it was Tom Curry that ends up getting over the line and scooting home. He basically like crashed into the freaking post pad. Yeah. Like, that looked like it hurt for a second. Good God! I was like, ooh, is he okay? I see that and I think, oh, that looks like it hurt.
Yeah.
But he popped up. He was fine. There was a joke that sales kits next year should be green and gold.
Yeah,
because they've heavily recruited from the South African region, with the likes of all the Dupre is now coming to Sale, along with Ruan Botha is now on his way to Selford as well to reinforce the locks. They got Jake Cooper Woolley on his way over. They'll be tough. They'll be, I think. Who else did I see? I think they signed Hammersley from Newcastle as well. And Hammersley is a underrated, very quality player out of Newcastle. I think he's played almost every game for them, if not maybe one short. Very, very quality player. He played fullback almost the whole year. Very good player. I think they're going to be very well off. Obviously, then you combine that with the likes of Salamona and Chris Ashton, and if AJ's still around, there's a lot to go around down there. Faf obviously still continues to rock up as their 9 for the future while the World Cup's not going on and all that good stuff. So it'll be very interesting. All right, and then the last one, which I got none of, Newcastle and Bristol, and it looks like I probably should just be glad that I didn't.
This was a match that happened.
Yeah, that's basically what it comes down to. I do know that Joel Hodgson returned, which is awesome because he looked like he was out for a long time when he picked up his injury. Really, they had started to get going under Joel Hodgson as the fly half in the Champions Cup, and then he got hurt. And I was like, and they talked about it. I don't remember who was talking about, whether it was commentary or it was a podcast I was listening to, whatever it was. Last year, he was actually really a hard driver of the reason that they got to the semifinal in the Premiership, and missing him this year was a big thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad he's back. He's committed to the club. George McGuigan just committed to the club for another 2 years, I think. So womp to anybody that wanted him, right. But he says no. I'm a Newcastle guy until I die. So. Or at least for the next 2 years.
They'll be back up after next year.
I'm sure there will be. I don't doubt it. After next year, we might talk about ring fencing if they keep bouncing. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
I mean, is there any reason? So, I mean, we like Super Rugby has a team on a bye every week, at least one. Why can't the Premiership do it? They can, add a team.
I don't have an answer for you. I just have a feeling that the RFU doesn't want to do, or the Premiership, whatever it is, doesn't want that to happen.
It's unlucky 13. Maybe that's why.
Maybe. Hey, I'm a little superstitious myself, man. You never know. A lot of athletes are. But Bristol spoiled the Newcastle party. 19-12. Not quite the smash that we thought Bristol would give to them, but they were able to rock it up. And that's how their season ends. I'm glad Pat Lamb's club was able to end on a high. If they had been able to get a bonus point when on top of some other results, they might have been playing Champions Cup rugby, which was what they were shooting for. Right. So good for them. No, we're not surviving. We're going to go for Champions Cup. So good for them.
They needed a little help, but
they did.
They didn't quite get it.
Nope.
They didn't really give it to themselves. But finishing 9th,
newly promoted team,
very clear of relegation.
Yeah,
extremely clear of relegation.
Yeah, they were very
and tied with Wasps.
Yeah,
for points.
Yeah, damn good stuff for a new promoted team.
Nothing to sneeze at there.
No, somebody said something about London Irish's new signings are better than Bristol's. I say yes and no. Yes, they're probably more talented, but the problem is these London Irish signings are actually probably gonna miss some time because they're gonna be at the World Cup, so on and so forth. A little bit of gelling issues probably going to take place. I think Bristol did a good job of picking from teams that didn't want certain players. See Harry Thacker, Charles Piatal. Obviously, they played Charles Piatal a boatload of money, but he turned into a great signing just the same.
How are Leicester not kicking themselves about Thacker?
And Slater.
Right?
And McGuigan.
Right?
Shall I keep going?
Young's.
He's a hammer. He's the club captain, but man, is he a hammerhead.
Right. Why?
You can't. I listen. I'm
I'm
glad
having
Jake.
trouble actually formulating this thought because of how fucking stupid it is. Like, I get that Youngs is your captain, but he's an ass, and he's not nearly as good as these other two guys.
Mm-hmm.
So what the fuck are you doing, siding with the what is, you know? Look. I'm the first one to stress leadership and how important it is, and you know, good solid leadership, but. Leicester has a number of guys who can, you know, they have fucking Dan Cole. He could be captain.
He totally should have. He could have been captain.
Sign your young, you know, keep your young players. Make your good veterans your leadership, and not your fucking meatheads.
Hammerhead, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. So, funny note. Same match. Freddie needed an HIA, and. Craig Maxwell Keys says, "Oh, we need an HIA." He's like, who's getting? I think they said like, "Oh, who for?" Billy. Oh, nope. Sorry, that's Freddie. And they say it's all right. He didn't hear me. So I thought that he was. I have to say, in that match, and I didn't know it before, but I will now that I remember it. The TMO earned his paycheck. They were going to him a lot.
Oh.
Some tries to turn down, some tries to confirm. I mean, if it was for there was one or two that I wish he had just made his own decision, but really for most of them, he needed it, which sucks.
You're right.
But you know, it's what it is. One hammerhead decision by it was the Leicester wing, Asplin Robertson, like clearly bats the ball down.
Yeah.
Doesn't even was it knocked on the tackle? And I watched the replay. I'm like, nope. 1 second into the replay, nope. I was like, yeah, he knocked it down for sure. Just lucky that he had cover tackle, or it might have been a penalty try. So, but yeah, digress. There's a lot of talent that Bristol found on the shelf of other clubs that they were willing to, you know, Ian Madigan came over from France. You know, they found some of these guys semi-locally in Europe. They're pulling, London Irish pulled a lot of guys from down south. So we'll see what happens. That's going to be a very interesting thing to happen. If that team gets relegated, it's going to be real interesting to see what kind of mass exodus happens.
Yeah. Although I don't think, I still, I'm
Oh, my prediction is Worcester still.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. I was like, I still think it's going to be Worcester next year.
I do too. But yeah, obviously there's a lot of farewells, a lot of transfers. Johnny R saying goodbye to Worcester. He's one of the longest serving. I think he's the longest serving player on the team right now. Been with them through all the ups and downs, literally all the ups and downs, being promoted and relegated. But it sounds like he's saying goodbye to the club. Benteos needs a new club. No, actually, we have Brett Barrett. He's basically a carbon copy. We don't need that. Yeah. But yeah, there's some good guys. Side note, I kind of have my own mini Brad Barrett in my for my kids team.
Good.
It's kind of fun.
Everyone needs a Brad Barrett.
When I say my kids team, I mean the kids that I'm coaching. I don't have any kids. Just FYI. If you did, maybe you'd know about it. Maybe you wouldn't. We'll see what happens. But yeah. So what else is there? Exeter's getting Will Whitty from Newcastle. I heard that's not fair.
No.
That's not fair to have another solid forward like that. Although they're losing Tom Laude to Quins, but he's not being used a lot there.
No.
Not unlike Bailanu from the Saracens.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, people are talking about how much he's going to be a replacement for Nathan Hughes. I'm like, I got a newsflash for you. This guy couldn't get into the team when Vinipola was away, and I don't know if he played at all this year. Now I don't know. I also don't know if he was hurt.
Right.
But still, like, that should be kind of an indication that he didn't even get one run.
Right.
I don't think he got one run this year. So if you're that excited about this guy, I'd cool your jets just a touch. I'm sure he's decent, but at the same time, like, he's not the talent that you think you're getting. He's not going to replace Nathan Hughes for like.
Not even a little bit.
Sorry, dude. All right. To the Down Under. This is a painful one for me to talk about because they played well for the first 5 minutes and they played like absolute crap for the remainder of the period. Jaguars rocked up and played. They So there were a couple of refereeing decisions that I wasn't overly pleased with, but at the same time, Jaguars played that line, and they played it well. And they continued to press on it and press on it and press on it, and then they got their tails up. And then when this team gets their tails up, they're just as good as anybody else that's out there, and they showed it. They really did. Creevy was being a pain in the butt as he usually is. He's quite the pain in the ass out there. He did very well. To say that nobody else did well is wrong, but at the same time, these guys freaking man, I'm having a hard time to describe how it's the Jaguars. It's hard to describe their style per se, but they get it done, and they did. So, and at the same time, the Hurricanes were also very ill disciplined, and that cost them. So it is what it is. They had some good guys play. This is the problem with the Hurricanes. They don't know how to play 9 times out of 10 without Bowen Barrett.
Yeah.
He didn't play in this game, and it showed. It really showed. And, Jordy Barrett's had the tee, and I'm starting to think that maybe Jordy Barrett shouldn't have had the tee because he missed a couple of easy ones that would have at least put them in the right
close.
And the score is probably a little flattering because I think Barrett got one at the end as well. So, not the Hurricanes' best performance, especially backing up after a decent defensive performance last week against the Blues. So a little disappointing. Going to the bye, they're going to have to lick their wounds and reset and maybe reconsider what the hell just happened.
Yeah.
So Jaguars take it home 28-20, and they are tied at the top of the South Africa Conference, I think, on points and probably either up or down, depending on point differential and all that good stuff. But good on them.
Yeah, the Jaguares, they're tied at the top.
Yeah.
They're second because of point, as you said, point differential.
Okay. There you go. Second to the team that beat the Rebels. Bulls. That was not a good performance by the Rebels. The Bulls just overpowered them. Literally overpowered them. They just decided that they were going to boss this game around. Rebels didn't start poorly, but the Bulls finished well. They really did. Andre Pollard looked class for sure.
So they did the standard South Africa rugby style of just gonna run you the fuck over.
They kind of did, and the Rebels didn't know what to do with it. Speckman's a tiny guy for a wing to be playing, especially in South Africa, but he plays a lot bigger than he is. They tried to pick on him a little bit, but it didn't work.
No,
and
not.
And Sneeman was causing problems as Sneeman does. He's just he's basically a gigantic loose forward. He's in there. He runs the ball well. He can turn the ball over. He does. He runs a line out and jumps very well. He's definitely one of the top 5 jumpers in the world for sure. Just Bulls rocked up with this thing big time, and I don't know. The Rebels looked lost. They brought Matt Tamua on. I thought a little late, honestly. I thought they should have done, because they were lacking this big time, was creativity. What I thought they should have done was left Cooper on as well, and let the two of them play as fly half and fullback, and let them have two creators. And they didn't. I was like, dude, play them both.
Yeah, you need
play them both.
You need points.
You need and this was before it got worse than you see here. So Rebels definitely need to go back to the drawing board. They're not completely out of it. Obviously, they're still right there. They're breathing down the Brumbies' neck. I think they have one more match against the Brumbies.
They're both against the Brumbies.
Against the Brumbies. So that might be their saving grace, where they can nip them and get to the top of the pile in the Australian Conference. Woo. Eden Park, not a happy hunting ground for the Chiefs this week.
Not at all.
Yeesh.
It feels like the Chiefs always have something different that's just fucking up. And and in this game, the only thing that was working for them, and this is a bad thing to have. This is the only good thing you're doing, is scramble defense. So
that's not a good
thing. They're getting their line broken, but they're making the tackle. So So the Blues were gaining meters, but not scoring tries. But you can only hold them out for so long.
Yeah. And
the Chiefs, they got on the board first. The first, I'm not sure how many minutes, it was literally end to end.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was Blues or deep in the Chiefs end. Suddenly the Chiefs are deep
Back
in the
and
Blues
forth,
end.
back
Suddenly
and forth.
the Chiefs are deep in the Blues are deep. It just kept going back and forth, deep in it. Like I think the whole
they're
the first
both
40
playing
minutes was
very open, expansive stuff. So yeah, they were just going for it.
and the Chiefs got their only try early, and it was all based off of an untidy pass under pressure, right on the goal line. So and Carpet gets over. Good job, but
Next,
that if that's it, then come on, you got to
you're
keep
probably
that
in
up.
trouble.
And it just it just went downhill after that.
Right.
It really was a track meet, except for that scramble defense. That was the only thing that kept this game respectable.
Right. I mean, that's how both these teams really want to play, as I've seen it. Even like their forwards. Look at the forwards for the Blues, like Tui Pelotu and Akira Ioane, and even some of their big boys like Tui Nukuafe. They want to just play nice and open. I think Tui Nukuafe played in this one, but point being, their props they think they're loose forwards, and they play like it too. So it's they play open, they play loose, and it runs throughout the team. I don't know how excited Leon McDonald would be about that, though. I feel like he's somebody that's okay with the openness, but not okay with the sloppiness, because both teams were pretty sloppy in this too. To be fair,
and that's the downside of this style of play is that if it's just off by a fraction of a second, everything just goes to shit.
Case in point, Rico Ioane coughing up the Mitchell Karpik try.
Right. And it was what he did was right, because he had his support there. He was going to get tackled and probably lose the ball, because it was 2-on-1 tackle situation and then a 2-on-1 ruck situation. It was going to go bad no matter what. So it was flip the ball to my support player and hope he can do something with it, and the pass wasn't exactly right.
Maybe be a little bit better with the flip.
Yeah.
It was pretty weak, and Karpik saw it and just said,
yeah.
"Mine."
Yeah.
Jumped right on it.
So good for him on that, but you can't just rely on your opponent being sloppy on their goal line in a shit situation for every try. You got to have some sort of
Agreed.
Structure and plan of attack, rather than let's just throw it here and see if that works. So
right.
You can have open play as long as you have discipline, and that's the one thing I haven't seen from the Chiefs this year for the most part.
Yeah, Blues haven't had a lot of it.
No,
to be fair.
that was their story last year when I was following them too.
Right.
Is they're just I'll throw this pass. Maybe it'll go.
Definitely.
Maybe it'll go to hand. Maybe it won't.
Hope and a prayer.
Right. I mean, it's fun to watch. Again, amazingly fun to watch when it works. But
oh yeah, well look at the way the Chiefs carved up the Bulls, who are a very structured team. So when you can play loose and you play accurately and loose, it causes them problems. Obviously, they had a guy named Damian McKenzie on top of that, but different. Still, the point being, the way they played just irritated the hell out of the Bulls, and that's why they were able to put 50 on them.
Yeah, and that's kind of the difference is it's the same idea of when you're in a structure, you have to maintain discipline because you have your role, and as the ball moves, your job, your assignment may change, and you got to make sure you keep that assignment. You have to maintain the assignment that you need on that one defensive phase. And when you throw the ball around like that, that can really fuck up a defensive organization.
Yeah.
And really mess up the assignments there. But when you're playing two teams that play kind of the same way, there's less of that.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not much defense. Just tackle the guy in front of you. Okay, we'll do that. And so it's harder to make gains that way, especially if you're sloppy with the ball.
Yep. Well, Chiefs rather sloppy with it. End up losing 23-8. Yeah, scoreline is a little a little bit misleading. Blues got their last one at the death.
But I would say
they dominated the game.
Right. I would say it's misleading in terms of it makes it look closer than it was.
Blues take care of business 23-8 over the Chiefs. Chiefs are in major danger of likely missing this year's playoff.
Yes.
Reds and Warthas. Well, I said the Reds weren't a good team, but man, I thought they were better than the Warthas, but I was wrong. I was really wrong. Neither team was super, not unlike the game before, except both led to more scores. Neither team was super accurate in this match. Just they both lacked in defense. And it's like neither one of them wanted the ball sometimes. So Bryce Hegarty, he's going to wear a gold shirt. Not new, not news. He and Bernard Foley were trying to outcompete each other basically. That was kind of fun to watch. But yeah, the Reds did play well in patches, and so did the Waratahs. That was the problem. That's the problem with both these teams. They do it in patches. They don't do it consistently. Honestly, if both play on their day, I think that the Reds would beat them if they both play well, as we expect. But no, they both play in patches. If I was Brad Thorne, I'd be losing my freaking mind because I think the team he has is underperforming. They really do. Between Karevi and Hegarty and Seth Naivalu and some of the forwards that they have, like Painga Mosa, I'd be extremely frustrated if I had this team, if I was Brad Thorne, and the results that they continue to turn out, which is inconsistent. This is two losses in a row now. I'd be extremely frustrated. And they had, if I'm not mistaken, they had a lead on this team at halftime and let it go. And that's just extremely frustrating. So I would.
I'm nodding as loudly as I can. So
yeah, it's bad. So Reds fall to the Waratahs 40-32 and fall into deep trouble in terms of Australia Conference and whether or not they're going to make the playoff here. Waratahs are probably still in deep trouble too, so let's be real about that. Don't jump up and down too much there, New South Wales. Lions and Highlanders. Well, this is one of the underperforming teams in the South Africa Conference so far, and against a team that normally is a team you don't want to screw around with, even without certain players. Waisaki Naholo did pull out of this match, very late. I think he got pulled out either the night before or in the warm-up. He should have been on the bench for this team, which would have been very nice to bring in for sure. They don't chant his name to the tune of Seven Nations Army for no reason.
They stole that from Morrow.
And every other freaking athlete that's out there. Lions played very well. It was a little back and forth. This almost turned into what the Highlanders wanted, which was a little bit more open. It almost did. And then they said, no, wait, we need to structure this a little bit more. Malcolm Marks was leading the way for sure. Again, I love me some Malcolm Marks. The guy's a beast.
You do say his name a lot.
Yeah, the guy's kind of good. So maybe the Highlanders can find some new uniforms that aren't highlighter colored. Then maybe that'll help them out. Good God, I will say, when you have uniforms that are that color, it's hard to miss when you screw up. It's like, that's our extreme highlighter color in there. Okay, he's definitely doing something wrong. Penalty.
It's like an extreme version of Ashley Johnson's afro. Like, dude, we see what you did because we can't not see you.
Well, they said it in the Leicester and Bath match. Speaking of the guy, Ellis Genge. When you have that bleach look, it's gonna be, and it's not really suiting you and doesn't fit you.
Right.
When you screw up, they're gonna know it's you.
Yeah.
They're gonna know it's you because they're like,
who did you see? I didn't catch a number, but it's that guy right there.
Yeah, really, really easy stuff. And then, but back to this match. Quagga Smith, also kind of good. Definitely going to be wearing a green jersey and on the plane to Japan if Rassie Erasmus isn't a complete moron. But speaking of South African coaches, digress here just for a second. Jake White talking about getting rid of team announcements. Jake White's a freaking crotchety old man that's definitely racist. And he needs to.
South African?
Racist, I know.
I've never heard of that before.
He's an asshat. Jake White, shut your face. Nobody likes you. You're just a crotchety old man that's trying to stay relevant.
Yeah.
Just be quiet. Be quiet and go in your hole and stay there. Okay? Okay. Cool. But yeah, Lions take care of business. In the last 10 minutes, they really pulled away. It was about I think it was a 2-point difference between the two clubs, and then Lions just finished it. Altitude does things.
It does.
So, again, like I said, Wasaki Naholo on the bench and not another loose forward, which is what they ended up doing, would have been nice. But hopefully he returns next week and they can maybe pull the next one off. And then, bloody hell, Crusaders! Can you at least freaking lose or win and not land in the middle? God damn it!
I mean, are they now the Alabama Crusaders?
I don't know.
Because they love kissing their sister.
Oh my God, this is their second tie this year, I think, with another
Recently,
South African
in the last
club.
couple of weeks.
With another South African club, no less.
Oh yeah. This is their third draw in the season.
Third? Who else did they draw with?
I can't see their schedule.
Oh, come on.
Hold on.
Don't do this to me. While you figure that one out, I mean, we talk about guys that are good. Richie Mwanga's pretty good.
It's okay.
He had a miss kick that landed in David Havili's hands for a try. It was a shot to nothing, but like he got whacked, and as he was getting hit, he was trying to kick it across field, not to where it landed, which was like 2 feet away from him. But David Havili was Johnny on the spot and able to grab it. So, I mean, when you're that good, missed kicks end up in the right spot just the same.
It's not letting me go back far enough, but they drew with the
Sharks,
Stormers and Sharks. But the table indicates 3 draws.
Okay, hold on. Let me look. Let me see if I can figure this one out. But this was, I mean, the Shark. See, the thing is, the Stormers kind of started to have their set piece kind of take over, and that's what got them, because they'll end up kicking 4 penalties. Yeah, 4 penalties. The Stormers do, as opposed to the Crusaders, who get 3 tries and just miss 1 conversion. So that's a bit of an ouch for Richie Mwanga, who could have won the team the game if it in reality
they fucked up.
Yeah.
What was it? The table is inaccurate on foxsports.com.au, where it has.
Well, it's not Aussie Rugby site. What else you gonna expect?
Exactly. So
is it?
Yeah, they have them at 9-3-1.
Well, I see. You know what?
Super Rugby 2 draws on the.
Super Rugby site has them as that too. So it's weird. Oh, wait a minute. The canceled match.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Problem solved. Because they did have that as a draw.
That's what they put it down as a draw.
All right.
Okay, done. Okay.
Question answered.
Okay, so that's technically a draw, but it's not a draw I'm going to count.
Right.
Okay, it counts on the table, but it's not one.
Draw's bullshit.
Yeah, I'm not going to consider it a draw, just because some fucking asshole. Not getting into that. But yeah, so Stormers were at least able to. I have to say though, for the Stormers to come off a bye and only get a tie is a little sad. You know, it's not. It's something that you probably need to be a little mad about if you're a Stormers fan. Like, all right, listen, we had 2 weeks to prepare for this team. You got to watch last week, where they played a decent game, and you know you're at home. They've traveled. They're not in the comforts of their own home, and you freaking muster up a draw. Sharks mustered up a draw, but they were away from home at least, and that I consider a positive result. This I consider a negative result for the Stormers.
Yeah.
So Stormers and Crusaders draw at 19-19. Crusaders still stay hands down top of the pile, especially since the Hurricanes lost without any bonus points or anything like that.
Yeah. So there's nobody really challenging them at this point.
No, they are going to be hosting the Super Rugby final if they get there, because that's how it works. So another note on Super Rugby stuff: the mass exodus in South Africa. I mean, it's a problem, and I know and we've talked about it before. It's not just a rugby problem. This is a world problem, and it's unfortunate that South Africa rugby is taking the hit because of stuff like this. You've got a lot of their players obviously jumping ship and going to France and going to England, and where the paychecks are obviously better.
They're loose with what they're willing to allow for their national team, right? So Australia, New Zealand. If you don't play in Australia and New Zealand, you don't get to play for their national. With the
exception of a few guys in Australia, yeah.
And South Africa doesn't have that. They say to their guys, go get paid.
Right.
So
well, I think they understand that the economics in the country are really, really tough on these teams. despite the fact that there's some good crowds some weekends and some weekends there's not some great crowds,
Yeah.
and they do play in some fairly big stadiums. The Sharks play in the shadow of one of the World Cup stadiums from the Soccer World Cup in 2010. And, I can imagine what that would look like if they tried to play in that stadium. It would look, it would look like the Sunwolves when they play in Singapore.
Right.
That's basically what it would be. Pretty sad.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they don't play in there, and they're smart. They're at least smart enough to know that. But yeah, it's always a little depressing when I don't see as many people in the stands as I was hoping for, especially with both Australia and South Africa. Australia's got a different problem that they're fighting. They have 3 or 4 full contact sports that they're fighting with.
Right.
So that makes it tough.
I mean, when I'm psyched that they have the Rebels even in Melbourne, because when I remember I traveled there in 2006. I was in Melbourne, and it just wasn't a big. It was very. I mean, it's huge on footy, but not. It was like talking to the locals about sports. They're like, yeah, we don't really do rugby here. It's like it's just non-existent. So,
bugger.
I'm glad that the Rebels are around, and I'm hoping that will improve rugby participation down there. But yeah, there's just not. Australia is very, put it this way, it's segregated as far as this area does footy, this area does league, this area does union,
yeah,
and they're big on league for God knows what the fuck reason. God, that's
only two. There's only two freaking countries that are good at league: England and Australia. After that, nobody gives a shit.
Right.
When the U.S. is one of the top 5 countries in a sport that's not one of their big sports,
right,
probably need to reconsider how good that sport is.
Exactly. I mean, it's essentially American football mixed with rugby.
Yeah, and that's why I couldn't get on it. I watched it when I was younger because I was like, all right, this is kind of rugby, and then
which takes me back to the Setanta days.
Yes, those days. Yeah,
and,
talk about paywalls.
Yeah, but I'd wake up in the morning as I'm getting ready and throw on Setanta. I'm like, maybe there's a match on.
It's a league match. You just kind of stomach it.
But so to bitch about again, going back to the paywall thing, when you would turn that on or when you'd go to check it out, it would just say rugby. It wouldn't say the teams. It wouldn't say anything. So it was literally
That's true. Yeah. Okay.
Every morning before work, I'd be like, all right, what am I getting? Fuck, it's league. All right.
Fine. Just deal with it.
I found myself making it to work on time those days.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Yeah, my lady friend at the time was definitely a little baffled as to why I was so flippin' obsessed, and thankfully the boss knows, at least. It's one thing she accepts about me, so that's why she's the boss.
Yes, you may be my boss.
Yeah, right. Give you permission. All right, let's do some pick'em. Big weekend.
Can we just assume
we're first?
Let's just both just write down who we're picking in this match without saying it.
And say the same time. 1, 2, 3.
I'm not going with my side piece. That would be
blasphemy.
wrong.
It'd be blasphemy. Yeah, I'm taking Saracens after the boys got a nice rest and Alex Good's no longer hungover. Oh God, what a bender!
Oh, well done. Hey, I
what a hero!
Absolute hero.
Yes.
So, if we win Can-Am, does that mean we're gonna go out?
Yeah, well, and poorly in so many ways. Oh my God, I can only imagine. Exeter and Saints. I mean, round 2, probably the same result.
I can't imagine that changes that much. There's such a disparity in in just team play overall. I mean,
yeah. When Ryanek left that match, it was bad news for them, and I don't think he'll be at full go. So he'll be in the match, no doubt, but I just don't think he's going to quite have the bump.
So we're both in agreement that it's Chief Sarries in the final.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Let's go down under. We're getting down to squeaky bum time here too. It's round 15. There's 18 rounds, so we are closing in on that final table here. We'll see what happens here. Opening the weekend with the Chiefs and the Reds. Ooh, this is
this is tough to pick.
This is not a fun one to pick.
To me, it depends on which Reds team shows up.
Absolutely, I agree.
This has nothing to do with the Chiefs.
No,
and so I'm going to pick them anyway. I'm going to pick the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think I'm going to back them as well. That was not a good performance from the Chiefs. Reds performed a little better than the Chiefs did this weekend, even though they came out with a loss. I think the Chiefs are going to get a big old rocket up their butt this coming weekend. So
this is it. This is
do or die time, guys. Let's go.
If you're going to start showing it, it's time to start showing it now.
Right. Brumbies and Bulls. Again, not the easiest pick, especially considering what the Bulls just did. And considering the Brumbies aren't the most amazing team ever, this will be interesting. This will be very interesting.
Yeah, but then the Brumbies are coming off a bye.
Yep. Also that.
So the Bulls also aren't traveling they're staying in country.
Yep.
Oh, this is tough.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go with the Bulls.
Okay. Yeah, I am too. I will. Yeah, I think they're the best team in the South Africa Conference. Mm-hmm. They're not always showing it. That was the first one that they picked up outside South Africa in a while, but still, I like. There's something I like about this Bulls team a little bit more than I have about basically any other South Africa team for a while. So I'll roll with that. And some Wolves and Rebels. Some Wolves coming off the bye. Rebels licking some serious wounds here after that performance last week against the Bulls. They're going to Asia. I don't know if this is being played in Tokyo or if it's being played in Singapore, but yeah.
Yeah, so off the bye, and then Rebels off that snotting to the. I think the Rebels really. I think they rock up, and
yeah.
I think this is not going to be close.
Yeah. Rebels in a tight one. I think this is the one. We talked about how some Wolves are kind of up and down. I think this is one of their ups, but I don't think they win. So there you go. This has the potential to be either a classic or an absolute shit show.
Oh, I think they're going to be the latter.
Yeah.
I think the Crusaders just fucking romp.
Yeah, I am having a hard time disagreeing with you.
They're teams like the Crusaders come back from. I mean, they treat ties like losses. So this is
good. They are. That's why they're that good,
right? And so they're not gonna just. They're going to take this week. They're going to get a rocket up their ass too, because not that they need it for
friggin' send them to the moon right now. Are you kidding me?
Not for but it matters for the standings, but just their quality of play. That's unacceptable in that organization.
Agreed.
So, and then as we talked about the Blues, they were vulnerable. The Chiefs just didn't take advantage of those vulnerabilities.
Nope.
I'm pretty sure the Crusaders will.
Yeah. They're a clinical and very very cutthroat side when they're on fire, which they usually are.
I think this is going to be one of those where you watch them and you're just like, how the fuck did they score 49 points? I don't remember that many, but it happened.
It just happened. It just happened. You were asleep. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean I watched the whole match and they were scoring, but it just didn't feel like they were really like
they know how to rack them
that
up
dominant. It just kind of happened and
guys like Havili and Severis and Bridge just score at a flash.
Right. And it's probably going to be close at half. It's going to be one of these matches where it'll be close at halftime. It might be like a one-try match. And then second half, it'll just be over.
Oh, that's just painful.
That's my prediction.
Fair enough. Waratahs and Jaguares.
Oh, this is another tough one, too.
Which Waratahs team shows up? This is Jekyll and Hyde.
And which Jaguares team shows up? Well,
to be fair, they've shown some real guts, some real character the last, basically since like that first few weeks of the season got over. They said, "All right, we're over ourselves. We're done being a bunch of little candy asses. We're gonna get this. We're gonna get going here. We're gonna get up to the top of this table right now, and they pretty much have.
Mm-hmm.
So I give all the credit in the world to Jaguares and their coaching staff because they've found whatever it was to get this team going. So I'm taking the Argentinians.
And I'm going to follow you with that. No, I'm not. I'm going to go with the Taz. Only because we're probably going to go, if we don't disagree on this one, we're probably just going to agree the rest of the way out anyway.
Yeah. All right. Stormers and Highlanders. No, let's see. Is this the Stormers team that tied the Crusaders? Or is this the Stormers team that got waxed on almost all of their Austro-Asian tour matches when they were on the travels, with the exception of one? But, yeah.
But they're at home now.
Right.
So that would change things. Highlanders, where were they last week?
They were in South Africa.
Okay, so they're
they were against the Lions.
Right. So they're both teams. The travel shouldn't be an issue. It should just be straight up talent versus talent. And I mean, I got to go with the Highlanders on that level.
Right. I as much as it pains me to pick against Sia Khaleesi, I'm taking the Highlanders as well. He did score a very nice try last week. Good read, good line. Sia Khaleesi is one of those loose forward that knows how to read lines like a back, and he's still built like a loose forward, so it's really hard to stop him. So everybody's favorite South African captain scored a very nice one. But yeah, I'm picking against him, unfortunately, as much as I need him to do well this week for me. And then Sharks and Lions. Again, which team's going to bloody show up for both of these teams?
Right.
For both these teams. I know both teams have the ability to friggin' stand up and just show the world that they're the best South Africa team, but neither one of them's done it on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
I will say this, and this is why I'm probably going to pick him. Kerwin Bosch has been on fire lately, and he has definitely been the driving factor behind the Sharks. Good performances. They haven't won every one of them, but they've put in some damn good performances with him wearing the 10 shirt. As much as that pains me, because also Robert Dupree is my fly half. But maybe not after this week.
Right. I'm going to go with the Sharks. I'm going to go with the home squad here.
Yeah.
Just when all else is unclear.
Yeah. Go with the team that gets to sleep in their own bed.
Right. And plus, I'm not. I really, how I don't quite like the Lions very much.
Yeah, well, there's a few players. There's a few players in the Lions team I like. There's a few players in the Lions team I could do without.
Right. I think we know. I think we share one of them.
Yeah, for sure.
As we could do without. I think the Sharks. I'm not sure if this would put an end to the Lions
bid. I have no idea
for the postseason,
it
but
would put it in jeopardy. That's for sure.
It would definitely put it in.
Let's see.
Put them in oh shit mode. Because they're 1 point different.
Yeah, they're both currently in the quarterfinal right now.
Okay.
But
that could change if Sharks win.
Yeah,
well, one of them wins, one of them loses, and then other people gain points.
And then after that, it's 4 weeks left.
Right.
And we'll see. I don't think it ends it, but it certainly puts them in hot water.
Yeah. So Sharks.
Sharks it is.
Sharks.
All right. How
many A's is that? No
Sharks. I know the South Africans.
So who'd you go with?
I went with the Sharks as well. Yeah.
So we agreed on
the sell C Selford Sharks.
Yeah. So we agree on everything.
Except
what? Oh.
Waratahs and Jaguars.
Oh, okay.
You put down. You said Taz.
Right. No, I said that you agreed with me on that one. I need to change that.
Yeah. Good luck. All right. So it is down to some fun times, both in fantasy and in regular competition. But we're gonna still keep rolling through this thing. Ben and I have much more free time than we used to now.
For now.
No, yeah, until
until sevens
kicks in, but that won't be for a little bit.
Nope.
Everybody, make sure you check us out on Google Play, iTunes, Spotify. Rate us. we're not going to get a new logo until next season, but that's okay. So when we unveil it, I hope everybody is excited as we are, because we have some ideas that will be very fun, and I think it will make everybody laugh.
Very sexy.
But yeah, so send an email, fantasyrugbypodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to, if you have a fantasy question especially, we'd love to answer it on the air and help it, because I'm sure you aren't the only one that has this question. Just most people just don't want to ask it because they're probably a little embarrassed by it. That happens,
Yeah, I mean,
a little shy.
who wants to ask an American about rugby?
We're idiots. What are you going to do, right?
It's kind of an insult, right?
These stupid Yankees have no idea what they're doing.
Can you guys help us?
We'll be back next week, and everybody enjoy the rugby semifinals. Good luck if your team's playing, unless it's Gloucester. Sorry, kidding. But enjoy the rugby. It's going to be a good weekend. Have a good one, guys. Cheers.
Later.